Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of SQUPCAST. I'm Adam and I'm joined by my colleagues Vincent and Dave. Hey guys.
Hey Adam.
Hey everyone, Adam.
Thank you very much for dropping in today. We are covering a fix of fancy features, so just a bit of a clearing the backlog for all the fun and exciting things that have been added to the product recently. Lots of nice blog posts being written by you guys and others at the moment, so I'm sure people will have been reading those and they'll be up to date with exactly what's going on. But we can show some stuff off and we can talk about a few things. And because we have got a bit of a bumper selection, I have made it a nice sort of game show-ified way of sort of bringing this up. So let me just share my screen. Let's go game show and let's pick out our first thing to talk about.
I love it.
I think these can go in pretty much any order. So hopefully this works out all right. Oh, starting with a plan and usage page. So
That'll be
Vincent,
me, I think.
That's you.
Yeah, that's going to be a quick one. Right, let me share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, we've revamped our plan and usage page in the product. That's usually accessible on the bottom left, plan and usage. And what that does is basically shows you the current plan you're on. Currently, it's an NF4, that's our own internal licensing, but it's going to show you all your main limits in the product. So depending on the tier that you're on, you might be limited by users, in my case, objects and data queries. If you're in the free starter tier, you might be limited to users, data sources, and number of monitors. So that's basically what we aim to show you here, really at a glance, try and make it quite easy to scan through that list. And we've also added on the right-hand side a little bit more sort of usage analysis on data queries. Data queries is a limit that applies to certain tiers, and they are sort of hard to explain when you sort of first start with a product. So we wanted to give the user just a very easy way to understand what they are. So data queries are made essentially whenever we connect to an external data source. We make a call to retrieve data. That could be like performance of a server, the stage status for build for a pipeline or anything like that. So when we connect to a third party data source, we've got to make a call. That's a data query, and so those basically add up, and they are sort of categorized in sort of three categories. You've got monitors. So when you're monitoring a certain metric in Squared Up, that needs to retrieve its latest sort of data every at an interval that you define, every 5 minutes, every 1 minute for more real time, every 1 hour. So that does count against the data queries, or when you share a dashboard or through making an API request. So got a handy link as well, learn more. So you can go to KB and learn more about that page. What are the different limits that apply to your tier and how they basically work. That's it for plan and usage, I think. Giving you as well just a few more details, basically just make that page useful, essentially.
For anyone who hasn't looked into queries yet, I guess the gist for those three categories are the things that happen without a user present, or without a logged in user rather. So if you're a logged in user, queries are included, they're covered by your user license. These are the queries that happen in the background, the things like you said for monitoring, shared dashboards being used, the stuff we're doing while you're not necessarily logged in. And in Pro and Enterprise, these are metered and they're part of your plan. Maybe overages apply, maybe you've purchased an extra amount, but this now gives you that really good breakdown to figure out how you're using them all. Cool. Okay. Well, yeah, nice and easy one. Shall we go? Let's go back to the super exciting Wheel of Fortune and see what's up next. Maybe we'll get a prize if all of Vincent's features come up together.
I was going to say, I'm going to have an easy show here. Hey, happy day.
All right.
Dashboard
Okay.
folders.
I'll just go and grab a coffee.
I'll just keep sharing. So plan and usage, I was just showing, is already in the product, and that's a feature we released quite a few weeks ago now. What I will show you is a feature we are going to release soon. So we are working on it right now. It's a sort of part of our summer backlog, as we call it. And what I have for it is a screenshot because we are still working on it. We use wireframing tools to sort of work with the engineering team to make sure that we are working, building the right user experience. So that's just a screenshot to basically show you that we will soon be supporting the ability to create folders inside of workspaces. Now we'll talk about workspaces in bit later today when I come to talk about workspace icons, but basically when you start up with SquaredUp, you will connect to your data source. Data sources will give you sample dashboards out of the box. You could, if you connect to say AWS, you might get a bunch of those, maybe 8 or 10. You might connect to Azure DevOps and whatever. So you end up with, very often quite a lot of dashboards on the navigation on the left. Basically, dashboard folders let you very easily, I guess, organize your dashboards into folders. So when you install sample dashboards from your data source, they'll appear in a folder for that data source, and then it's up to you to then start organizing it in any way you like. We'll also have the ability to then convert a folder into a workspace, and we'll talk about workspaces in a few minutes, just to explain the difference perhaps between dashboards and workspaces. But yeah, that's dashboard folders coming soon, as soon as we can get it out of the door. But yeah, it's a summer activity for us to build.
Vince, nice. Got a question for you on that one. Will we support nested folders at all? What's the plan there, or is that one up for debate?
Yeah, I think the question is more, why should we not? I think nested folders can be useful. So you might have sample dashboards, each with their own sort of services, if I can say. So AWS might have sample dashboards for EC2 Lambdas, and so you might want to have that structure. So the plan is to look to support nested folders, and then so basically just looking at it literally right now as to how do we best do that. So yeah,
brilliant, thanks.
What about instead of folders and just to annoy you, what about instead of folders in workspaces? What about being able to put workspaces in folders? We've got hundreds of workspaces.
Yeah, I mean, workspaces or dashboard folders are meant to be very easy way to organize your dashboards. Just create one, drag and drop your dashboards inside a folder, and off you go. Workspaces is probably when you take your next step up in SquaredUp and you want to start logically organizing not just your dashboards, but your business, if I can say it this way. You might have multiple teams, each with their own users, members who can access a specific workspace, but not another workspace. So workspaces are there for access control, basically, but they're also there to define a team is made of, or an application is made of, those data sources, those objects, those dashboards, and then I can have metadata on a workspace and interconnect my workspaces to get the health roll up. So they are a lot more heavier than a dashboard folder just for organization, but a lot more powerful, basically. So I think it's probably a question of maturity in the product. You start with folders, and then you'll probably find that, okay, now I need workspaces, so I'm going to start using workspaces instead of, or as well of, I guess.
Nice. Okay, thanks for that. Let's see if we can make it lucky number 3 for...
I'll keep sharing. Oh, no, I can't because you're on a...
Yeah, you're fine. Let's see what's up next. Let's talk about... Oh, Dave, this is you. Actually, we'll spin again because we wanted to come to this after something else.
Could do a 2 for 1 if you like.
Well, if it comes up, let's do a 2 for 1. What? Okay, it's fate. So we'll talk. Let's talk about what the other one that we should have been talking about was.
Yeah,
we'll talk about variables, and we can talk about.
Hopefully, gives us a bit of background for perspectives. Anyway, let me share screen. There we go. Yeah, so we've been working on this feature a little while, and we released it a couple of weeks ago. So it's a feature called Dashboard Variables. It's something you might have heard of kind of in the industry with lots of other tools. And the kind of basic idea is that we allow you to build dashboards now that aren't kind of hard-coded to a particular thing, but they become a lot more kind of flexible and reusable. And the idea is your viewers of your dashboard can change kind of the target of the dashboard on the fly. So in SquaredUp, we've indexed your objects. We know all of your pipelines, all of your VMs, so your users of the dashboard can pick from those lists. So take this pipeline overview dashboard. This is actually just a sample dashboard that comes with the Azure DevOps plugin. So if you install that today, you'll get this dashboard with the variable. So I can come in here and I can pick one of my pipelines. And as we do that, we make those requests for that data, and the dashboard kind of lights up. So I haven't had to build a specific dashboard for my account common pipeline. It's my kind of template dashboard, if you like. And then I can pick it on the fly. Maybe I'm not interested in account common, I want to see a different one, and you can see all of the tiles kind of update, fetch that data in kind of real time, and off you go. So super easy to use, and pretty easy to kind of build as well. Like I say, this dashboard comes from our Azure DevOps plugin, but we are working on enhancing all of our existing kind of data sources with dashboards like these. So you'll start to see a lot more kind of these variables out of the box. If I was to create a new dashboard, you might have spotted this plus button for your dashboard variable. So that's where you can create a new variable and then go on to start using that in sets of tiles. So when you create a variable, you give it a name like lambda function or something like that, and then you select the objects that you want to be in that list available for the user to pick from. And then once you've done that, you just build your tiles as normal, and your dashboard is good to go.
For the moment, variables are just object scopes. In fact, they're just ways to pick a different object, but in the future we might support other things like maybe some custom data, or maybe data.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So today, effectively, they're having a variable kind of auto-completes, if you like, the object step here. But you could foresee a world where maybe you're doing some kind of query and you want that variable to be part of the query. So you could use a mustache template or something like that to kind of insert it in. And then similarly, maybe you want variables that are just lists of text for people to pick from. Maybe it's regions in AWS, or maybe it's names of particular apps, and so on. So we're certainly not done with variables. This is kind of the V1 for us. And lots more to come in the future.
So with that said, what's a perspective, seeing as we won that on the wheel?
Good one. This is so perspectives is a feature we're now kind of working on. We've started on recently off the back of kind of having shipped dashboard variables, and it's what kind of we see as the next generation kind of drill down and browsing experience, if you like. So today, when I drill down to say a pipeline, let me find that one I was looking at. We'll show you, some of the data streams that are available. You can see the properties, the map, but typically, if you've built a dashboard for a particular pipeline or for a set of pipelines, you probably want to see that dashboard when you drill down to it. And that's what perspectives is all about. So when you drill down to a relevant object, so in this case, a pipeline, we'll effectively render that dashboard that we were showing a second ago. So you'll see all of this wonderful content, the tiles that you've authored, you've kind of curated and make sense for you on that drill down. So we hope it just kind of unlocks a more kind of intuitive drill down browsing experience, and certainly one that's kind of more familiar, showing those dashboards. So we think it's pretty cool. Lots of work to kind of go into that one yet, but we'll be probably rolling out a technical preview kind of into the summer, and then release later this year, I hope.
Our dashboard server customers obviously be pretty familiar with that concept. That's what dashboard server sort of built on these days, being able to just drill into an object and see different sort of sets of data depending on the case. And I guess for us, that's for cloud in this case, that's exactly what we're trying to create. So maybe person A has built a really awesome cost dashboard for Azure VMs, for example, and they can use that dashboard, flick through variables, pick individual ones. Maybe you've got a great performance dashboard, I've got a log dashboard, security dashboards. Instead of having to go finding all those dashboards and each time choose the object you want to see, it sort of flips that around and pulls the dashboard down to the object level instead. Yeah, if you are familiar with DS, one of the big differences there is perspectives are authored separately from dashboards. You do have to kind of create specific views, but with cloud, and particularly with the power of dashboard variables, we've found a way to kind of make those reusable and flip the variable on its head a little bit, and show the dashboard when you go to the object rather than the other way around. So we think it's pretty exciting. So look out for that one later this year. In that example there as well, you're sort of single selecting a pipeline after a pipeline. We support multi-select on those, don't we?
Yeah, that's a good point. So when you set up the variable, depending on your options, you'll be able to kind of configure multi-selection there. So we think there's a kind of couple of particular use cases around dashboard variables. This kind of single select, I'm interested in a particular thing, as well as the kind of multi-select that allows you to filter down. So take a dashboard that's showing you your 10 business critical applications. You come in, it's giving you a nice summary of those 10, but you can then filter that down to just protect, one or two applications from that list, or particular ones with a tag, whatever it might be, something like that.
So you might have built a tile showing something, say like average build duration for Azure DevOps. And in this case, you can multi-select a bunch of pipelines and it will give you the average for all of those.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Brought together. Yeah, cool. Okay. Thanks for that one. Let's see. Well, I'm sure we'll end up doing a whole episode on perspectives when
I hope
it's
so.
going to be a pretty huge feature. So
yeah, definitely.
More to come. Let's go back to the most exciting part of the day, the Wheel of Fortune. Let's give it a spin. It's going to be variables. I'd wager. No. Oh, over to Vincent for done. Sharing themes.
Okay. That'll be an easy one. So sharing theme. So basically, let me just go to a dashboard. Let's take this one, the business KPI. So over 12 months ago, I think, Dave, when we introduced the ability to go light mode, dark mode in the product, that's basically a user setting. I like light mode. That's my personal preference, but probably go system that would default to light mode for today. So that's all fine. But when you want to share this dashboard to an audience, and that could be maybe on the wall screen in your office, it could be something a dashboard you want to embed in another application, you may actually find yourself wanting it to be in different theme. In that case, this one, I think as much as I want that dashboard for me to be light mode, I'd like my users, my colleagues, to basically to have it in dark mode, because I think it looks better on the wall screen in the office, basically. So when I click share, to share the link of this dashboard, and I have a very simple option to choose between dark mode or light mode. So I'm going to go for dark mode, copy the link, and paste it here. It should be the same. And then it will load the same dashboard, but in dark mode. That's very, very simple, but quite powerful in a way. It covers a few use cases, as I explained. If you wanted to embed this dashboard in maybe a tool that's dark mode native, then you probably use a dark mode version, or maybe if you had an icon of your company logo on your dashboard that was better viewed in a dark mode or light mode, then you could choose that theme independently when you share the dashboard. So that's for that, I think.
Nice. So yeah, like you mentioned there, that I think you can probably see it in the URL there, can't you? There's a parameter there. So for anyone who's interested in how to sort of do that, maybe programmatically or something like that, you can always append your dark theme if it's a wall screen in your ops center, because that's what you want for there, but otherwise give everybody else reports in light mode like they want, that kind of thing. That's really cool. What have we got next? Let's go for another spin. Where's the line on that one? Oh, it's a mystery to everyone. The map.
There we go.
It's probably just worth saying we had Richard on a few weeks ago, and we talked quite in depth about the map and what it does. But it is such a huge feature, and it's going to be, it's more and more prominent, especially with improving things like search and drill down. People are going to see the map a bit more. So I thought it was worth just throwing in another quick call out to such a big improvement. Vince, are you going to jump in for that?
Can do. I was going to suggest we do the workspace icons as well, because
okay,
kind of related. But I'll do workspace icons, and we'll go through the map anyway. If that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
Right. So let me share that again. Yeah. So earlier we talked about folders coming up soon, but today your way of organizing everything in SquareUp would be using workspaces. So as I said earlier, workspaces is typically, if I go into the Lake or Swagstore workspace, I'll see all my dashboards, all the data sources that make up that workspace, all the objects, the monitors, the data, and the map for that workspace. So workspace contains all of those things which are logically sort of organize. It could be, you could have a workspace for your applications, for your customers, your team, maybe. Any way you like. What we've done is we've given you the ability to add, to define icons on your workspaces. So if I show the icons, I've already uploaded a few icons for my workspace. Now that's pretty cool. Just makes the sort of the application just a bit more fun to use in a way, a bit more recognizable. If you share that sort of view to your stakeholders, they'll see an icon they recognize for the application. So it's just a bit more engaging, I guess, and it's quite often we get sort of users coming to us and saying, I love your dashboard, but give me the ability to customize the color on a line graph or add an image on a dashboard. And it sort of goes with that sort of theme of personalizing your experience, I guess. And it's sort of related to the map a little bit, because then the map becomes all of a sudden quite interesting to look at. So if I open up the map of the Lego Swag Store, so probably just a reminder on what the map is. When we connect to a data source, we will index all of the things that we discover in that data source. So if we connect to AWS, we index all of the EC2s or lambdas or functions or whatever we can find, build pipelines and so on. And we start creating connection between those. And then as a user, you then start creating a dashboard. Maybe you want to create a tile to show the status of a virtual machine, for instance. And then you want to put a monitor on that virtual machine. So if its CPU goes over X, I want to be alerted. So you essentially, by the nature of creating dashboards, you start essentially building a map of everything, and the map is best shown in its own section called map, which basically starts with the workspace, its dashboards, and then if I were to expand, which one was it? The microservice architecture. I will see there is a monitor that sort of monitors the architecture of my microservice, and then that's basically monitoring another set of workspaces. So I've got a connection here between that Lego Swag Store workspace and other workspaces that sort of or relying or interconnecting. So there's a dependency basically, and that's basically where workspace icons are quite useful, because then you can also in the map start to see, okay, right, so that's clearly the other service. I recognize the logo, so you can just have a better personalization of your squared up experience, basically. So that's workspace icon, that's a map as well. The other way to look at the map, if we look at the way that you might also use it. So if I go to account service, see I've got some dependencies as threads. I'm going to sort of follow the right path, basically, and that's where the map comes very handy. Got a health monitor for the dependency. You can see the component account DB is red, so I'm going to sort of keep drilling, got some red metrics, what's going on. Okay, I've got issues, get item latency. Let's basically follow the right path all the way to, oh, okay, this object, the account DB, that's an object that's in our AWS instance, is monitored on the dashboard, and it's basically, we've defined it as being red because there's an issue with it. And then basically the map lets you essentially explore, the state of everything you're building in Squared Up in a nice and very engaging way and useful way. You can even sort of narrow down to sort of the, show me the right path sort of view, and then you can basically start to drill down into an area that's red and sort of just get the extra level of detail. So that's probably the mix between the map and the workspace icons in a way. Two different features, but sort of when they work together, it's just beautiful to I think look at.
Nice. There's definitely a few just sort of like general quality of life improvements. It's amazing how happy people get just being able to like tweak a color on a bar graph or put a picture somewhere or that kind of thing. So it's great to see sort of more of that coming. And the map is particularly useful, I think, because like you said, it's built from people just sort of building dashboards, monitoring things, monitoring other workspaces. It's that human context that other tools can't really tell you. It's just, people just using Squared Up, the map just kind of happens. And I actually discovered a couple of weeks ago before going on vacation that one of the Azure function apps that we use for a lot of our internal automation, there is actually a dashboard for that in our sort of systems team workspace that I, maybe wasn't aware of or had forgotten about or whatever. So actually being able to like just click around my resources and see actually someone else is keeping an eye on that was good. It meant I could have a little break. So it is cool being able to be able to like explore around your squared up data, but then also take those leaps across the objects from your data sources and how they relate to each other and find that other cool stuff.
Yeah, I think that combination of getting sample dashboards out of the box and sort of you build and getting the data, like we already connected to the data source, means out of the gate you can start exploring things. It's very easy once you've connected to the data source to go, right, I can see already something is wrong, or I can see something useful out of the box, and the map sort of follows you around and sort of starts growing to give you something even more useful. So yeah, just a one thing on the workspace icons, you can also, just very, very nice, hopefully nice touch, you can also choose from a list of icons from a separate library. So if you haven't got an icon for something, like in my case, I didn't have an icon for that for the database workspace, I just typed in database. It sorts of give me just an icon for a database, but I mean, you could type in whatever you like, a cat, I think, yeah, a dog, whatever.
Nice. Lots of practical tips there. Thanks.
Yeah.
Right, let's spin the wheel and narrow it down. I think we've actually covered half of the things that are left already. So let's see what happens. This might be a quick double spin. Oh no, new feature. Markdown support.
Happy days. Yeah, this is another good one, obviously in the realms of customizing your dashboard and kind of adding a bit of personalization and content. So for a little while we've had the text tile, which lets you kind of add text into a dashboard. So I can come in here and say text and enter some text. But this now fully supports Markdown, so you can do all the usual bits and pieces. If you're not familiar with Markdown, it's a kind of syntax language. You can add headers and lists and links and so on. So if I come over to my pre-prepared dashboard, you can do things like this. So I've got a header in there. You can see a few list items and then links as well. So we think this is pretty useful just for adding context sometimes to your dashboards. Adam, you've built a lot of our kind of internal dashboards, and I think it's pretty cool. Sometimes there's notes on like what a particular metric is or how it's being kind of monitored. So it's great to see those. Or sometimes you could add links to documentation if it's your application dashboard, or a link to say contact the owner and that kind of stuff. So yeah, a small feature, but hopefully another one in that bucket of just personalizing your dashboard and kind of getting exactly what you want. So yeah, that's available now. So go try it out.
No, it's amazing just the difference it makes being able to make things bold. Like when you're writing notes, you just want to put like a few key call outs to specific details. Just being able to make things bold is great. Is it all static Markdown? Is there a way to do anything dynamically? Just to put you on the spot.
Yeah, it's all static today, so it's just the text tile, so no kind of data into Markdown. But if you have got a use case there, I'd love to hear it. It's definitely something that's in our backlog, and being able to do kind of rich content that's dynamically generated or maybe pulled from another source. That'd be pretty cool.
Well, dashboard variables and perspectives are obviously the key winner there, being able to put a tile on with like a link to some external documentation where that link lives on an object
coming from somewhere else. Yeah, I love it.
Cool. Well, you've got 2 weeks before the next episode's on.
Off I go. Brilliant.
Nice. Thank you very much. Yeah. So there's so many resources online for how to use Markdown. So like you said, if you haven't checked it out before, it's pretty simple to get used to. Pretty commonplace these days as well. Yeah, cool. What's left on this that we haven't actually already covered? I think just one.
Explore.
Just one. I'm gonna click it anyway. I'm gonna spin it anyway.
I'm disappointed we haven't got the sound effects. I think we need
yeah. Next time. Well, we've done workspace icons already. Let's get rid of that. I'm gonna spin it again. 50-50 chance. Let's see what happens. Oh, there we go.
Mate, do not buy a lottery ticket today. You're lucky.
Is he going to let me spin it once more? Yes, there we go. Maximize the fun. Great. Explore mode.
Yeah, let's jump over to that. I'll just share screen again. I should have just kept this shared. There we go. So yeah, explore mode really is another feature in our bucket of kind of exploring, browsing data, kind of drilling down. So, you know, Vince, you were just talking about how on the map you can kind of browse those connections, follow the red and so on, and explore kind of fits into that category really. So we think there's two main use cases. One is the kind of ability to let you dig into data behind any tile. So take this dashboard here. It might not be a dashboard kind of I've created, or maybe I don't even have permission to edit the dashboard. You can explore any tile. So you come into the ... menu, and we have this new option for explore data. And that launches us into a kind of tile editor-esque view. You've got kind of similar controls here, but you can slice and dice that data. So, you know, I've got 21 failures here, and maybe actually I want to just see, you know, do they correspond to a particular branch? I think, is it refs? Heads, master, so you know how many failures from our master branch, just the one, and that, you know, I can interrogate the data, see exactly, you know, what that failure was and so on. So really nice way of just digging into the data behind a tile. You can then optionally save it. So I can say, you know, save to dashboard. Maybe I'm saving that actually to my own workspace. So when you save that, you'll get, you know, do you want to save it to the current one, or do you want to kind of move it elsewhere as well? So really easy to kind of grab a tile that you like, maybe make some tweaks, and then save it somewhere for you as well. So that's kind of the first use case, is you've got an existing tile and you're digging into it. The second one is more more of what I'd call like a scratch pad. So you might have noticed the new data option on the nav bar here. So you can come directly into the Data Explorer and just browse data from initially across your whole workspace. So I can see we've got Azure DevOps here, so I can see all of the different data streams. But I can actually switch to all workspaces here. Now this is our demo tenant, so we've got a ton of different data sources and data streams. So you can see I can actually browse data from across our entire organization. So I can see, you know, AWS, let's say duration, and let's pick a couple of objects, and I can get data really quickly. So I haven't had to, you know, mess around with kind of permissions. It will honor all of your access control and permissions, but I can quickly get to some data. Maybe you're just browsing, maybe you're trying to see what's available, maybe you're just, you know, trying to check up on a particular metric and you don't have it on the dashboard. So those are the use cases here. And then again, obviously you have the option to save that if you want. And if I save this, it will again make sure all of those permissions are kind of set up and good to go. So two kind of main use cases, yeah, digging into the data behind any tile, and then, yeah, what I like to call the kind of scratch pad use case. But yeah, hopefully another way you can kind of explore, browse all of the data within your organization. Yeah, available now.
You mentioned sort of sticking to access control rules there. Like if I'm in your workspace and looking at one of your dashboards and I don't have permission to use your data source in my own workspace, I assume
yeah, it won't let you. So the save will probably be grayed out depending on kind of how it's configured, and that kind of thing. So yeah, maybe there's let's say 0, like a financial data source that, you know, I can see some of the dashboards, but I shouldn't be able to kind of browse that and interrogate it myself. So yeah, we'll fully honor those, you know, all of those permissions there. But yeah, if you've got permission to add it, you can do that, and it'll wire it all up for you without having to kind of get too low level and tweak the permissions.
Nice. I like that switcher at the top as well. That switches the context between the workspace you're in or everywhere. So
yeah,
maybe you start just sort of like exploring some data around from the data sources that are in there. You have some inspiration and want to check out something from a data source exists somewhere else. Being able to swap that around is pretty nice.
Yeah, and depending on where you come from, that might, you know, have a particular default. So if you're just browsing around, or maybe you're just searching for an object, obviously when you're searching, you're doing that globally. So we'll probably default to all workspaces there. But yeah, while you just come into it from the nav, it'll start just on your current workspace, but you can make that jump to all of the data pretty quickly as well.
Yeah, the number of times I've before this came out for tile level stuff, the number of times I'd sort of edit somebody's dashboard because I wanted to like see the data aggregated differently with a different visualization, and then forget that I was changing their dashboard when I was doing it.
Yeah, no worries about remembering to hit discard or anything like that. And then you obviously have the option to save it if you've crafted something that is useful or you want to keep as well.
Nice. I like that you can go to the data source as well, like on Azure DevOps, and actually see the data streams on the right and go, oh, actually, that's how I need to choose it. You can click on it and it
so if I click that,
just choose the object and if you go.
And it's pre-selected it for me. So yeah, loads of kind of routes into the Data Explorer if you like. I think similar on the let's try this on the drill down. If I go to a function obviously today we're going to show you all of the different metrics, but maybe there is a metric here that you like. Let's take duration, usuals. So you can just say, copy that to a dashboard, but again, you have the explore option here. So you come straight in and it's kind of pre-configured with that explore, and tweak it, then save it to a dashboard if that's what you wanted to do. So tons of ways kind of into the data explorer. Thanks for pointing that out, Vince. I'd forgotten that one.
Great. Well, we've run out of things on our spinny wheel, so we'll probably just leave it there for today. We've talked all about the product features today primarily. Obviously, plugins change all the time as well. We're going to have a session with Bruce from our plugins team, who product manages that team as well. We've never really dug into plugins much, the sort of the magic of data streams and all the hard work they do in the background to sort of shape and aggregate data for you. So I think that's deserving of a session. And there's always, we sort of highlighted a recent change to the ADO plugin using those dashboard variables today, but we'll get Bruce on to talk about a bunch of other fun things at some point soon. But for now, I think we'll call it quits. There's no more spinny wheel, so I don't know what to talk about next, really. So we'll just have to sort of end it there. But as always, check out Community Answers if you've got any questions about Squared Up or monitoring or data. It's a really great community with loads of old topics that are worth searching around for. It's our sort of Squared Up Stack Overflow in effect. It's getting pretty cool. So chip in if you figure out cool things. You can share gists on there as well. If you do have any feedback or requests for plugins, get over to feedback.squaredup.com. You can see what's kind of happening at the moment and make requests there too. And if you just generally want to get in touch, there's no competition this week, no counting any instances of words this time around. But if you have any ideas or a cool use case that you've been able to build in SquaredUp yourself, just drop us a line at SQUPCAST@squaredup.com. But that's it for today. So thanks to Dave and Vincent for joining us. We'll see you again soon, I'm sure.
Thanks for having us. Cheers.
Thanks.
Thanks all.